And we're good to go.
And did you want to go ahead and show the video, Rob?
It's not allowing me to share screen there, buddy. No, I want to with the small group.
Wait a minute. How many people are here? Okay.
Rob, you should be able to share the screen. I did set it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it now.
Good.
We're good. So good evening, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Rob Robinson, Long Range Planning Manager for the city, and I'll be moderating this public forum. This is the 6th of 6, so we're coming down the home stretch, but that does not mean we want to have a sloth or lethargy. We want to hear some excitement tonight. We're looking forward to hearing from you. A couple things right up front. The chat feature is turned off with Zoom, but the question feature is on. So, if for some reason something comes up, given the small group, we're going to unmute everyone, so you don't have to use your raise your hand function. As long as we're orderly and exhibit decorum, I think we can freely speak without having to go through punching additional buttons or whatever, having to raise hands or mute or unmute people. But if you guys get crazy, we have that option, but we're just hoping it doesn't come to that. So let me begin with now what you see is the smart area, which we, most people probably think of as the actual mall, is a little over 80 acres. So there's a lot. A transit center like Union Station, it's more like a glorified bus stop. And the blue squares that you see are the points where people currently can enter and exit Lakeforest Mall. So for some context, within a half mile of the mall, and mainly a half mile in dwelling units. And this encompasses everything from condos to apartments to townhomes to single family detached. So almost 16,000 people live just within a half mile of Lakeforest Mall. For non-residential uses, over 1.5 million square feet of general and medical office exists already. Restaurants is also found, within a half mile of the mall. And we're approaching 400,000 square feet of industrial storage and warehouse. But we do note there is no research and development. So that's all the biotech that you hear about. Currently does not exist within a half mile of Lakeforest Mall. So as we begin a master plan as planners, one of the things we always look at, is not only the existing context and go through these efforts, but we sort of want to keep in mind, what is going to happen in the future and how can we sort of plan towards. So the city right now passed 20,000 new residents for almost 90,000 people by between, almost 7,000 and 10,000 additional housing units to meet that growth. Why is this important? Well, you guys know, is this really going to come at approximately 20,000 new jobs by 2045? But one of the things to remember is what kind of these jobs going to be? Because retail is and remain oversupplied. And that was even before COVID hit and the changing nature of retail. So why are we really focused on Lakeforest? Well, present unique sort of address issues we had just about. So on your now, this is the outline of like that approximately 80 acres, and you can see of opportunities for how to, given the current climate we're in with the pandemic and so much uncertainty with certain things, this master plan isn't going to result in a design plan. So you're not going to see a layout of blocks with a description about what you're going to find in those blocks and how tall the buildings are. This master plan is more going to be expressing a vision for the redevelopment of Lakeforest Mall and it's going to talk about the elements that are to be included or possibly, more importantly, excluded from any redevelopment. So what I mean by that is where a master plan that has a design that could say block A has, 300 residential units and apartments, no greater than 6 stories. The master plan we're sort of looking at is going to say, while residential could be a component of this, apartments shouldn't be more than 5% of the total thing. So it's a higher engagement process that we're in. For each group, be it the focus groups or the public forums, we're going to ask 3 questions. And these questions, I want you to take time to think about. They're really meant to spur conversation. There is no right or wrong answer. And as we mentioned on the registration page, but we're hoping to have a good, lively conversation. We're really interested in hearing from you. And with that, because I promised to get you out of here, by 8:30, if not sooner, let's go ahead and jump in. So the first question is, which of the following do you value most for a Lakeforest redevelopment? Is it increased housing opportunities, increased employment opportunities, established connectivity with and amenities for the surrounding area that you think is a cornerstone of a Lakeforest redevelopment? And with that, my friends, I will open up the floor. I would ask the first time you speak, just introduce yourself to the group. And if you want to add, hey, I live in the city or I work in Lakeforest or any of that, feel free. So again, with that, I'll open up. I see Kathleen and Jill have unmuted themselves. You ready, guys? Ready to kick this off? Kathleen's been through this once before.
What does Kathleen have to say?
I'm pretty sure that the last time I talked about senior housing, we don't have many options for senior housing. I'd like to see more of that, whether it's at Lakeforest or anywhere else.
Well, yeah, we're seniors. I think senior housing. What kind of senior housing do you have in mind, Kathleen?
Honestly, I don't know.
Because we have all of Asbury right across the street.
And
well, we can't afford Asbury. We don't know I don't know a soul in Asbury, not one person, and I've lived here a long time.
So this is where we sort of explore. So if you say senior housing, what you're really talking about is senior housing that's affordable.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Evelyn, I see you have unmuted. Any thoughts there, my friend, on what we're going to, the question that I posed?
Well, actually, I'm here because I'm trying to learn. I'm new to the area and have no clue as to what takes place here. I am from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm just trying to learn what
That's fine, but let me put it to you this way. Sometimes those who haven't been ingrained in a certain way of thought sometimes bring the best ideas. So, as we think about this, I think for the panel, begin to think in terms, almost, let's pretend this is an 80-acre blank slate. What would be attractive to you. So if that helps you help frame this discussion, feel free, what experience, what aspects of where you came from do you think could be successful in a redevelopment?
Well, I'm actually confused as to why it's still not, why commercial space is not on the list of options.
It is. That's all the employment opportunities. So if you feel,
okay,
it should remain 100% commercial unemployment, that's a valid viewpoint.
Right, because when you increase, from what I just see physically, out walking about the few times that I've had the opportunity to, when I look at this question and you say increase housing, when you increase housing, you increase the potential for crime and other things. And I don't know if that's a consideration when you put that out there. It's the impossibility of increased damage, not necessarily crime, but just damage to things as well. So
Are you thinking, I'm not sure what kind of housing would increase crime. I don't quite understand the relationship there.
well, maybe I'm just thinking in terms of New York City. When you have increased population, that also comes with the increased possibility of crime.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
I guess I don't think that way.
well,
Well,
that's
again,
just a
we're not going to
reality,
debate,
though.
but Jill, if you have a differing viewpoint, you know, I'm happy to hear you express that. But again, we're not going to get into a one-on-one argument
You're
about
right.
others' viewpoints.
You're right.
So, yeah, that, for me, I guess for me, it's more of an interest in commercial space
Okay.
than increased housing.
That's fine. Hey, the earlier public forum that we had, they said they don't want any housing here. So again, you're not out on a limb. Let me though ask you, when you speak of commercial space, what are you envisioning? What type of commercial? Are you thinking office buildings? Are you thinking campuses? Are you thinking strip centers? Are you thinking standalone restaurants? You know, commercial runs soup to nuts.
Right. I think I'm not necessarily thinking office space. I'm thinking more of a benefit to the people in the area as well. So restaurants, shopping, anything that allows the community to spend to allow the community to